Welcome to History's Hidden Tales, where we dive into the stories and legends that have shaped our world. Today, we're spotlighting some extraordinary women throughout the ages. Women who weren't just celebrated for their physical beauty, but for the captivating qualities that made them truly unforgettable. Their charisma, confidence, and legacies have endured for centuries, ensuring they remain influential icons of allure to this very day. We'll travel from the ancient world to modern times, exploring the lives of queens, spies, and Hollywood legends. So buckle up and let's discover the hottest women in history. Let's begin our journey with Helen of Troy, often called the face that launched 1,000 ships. Even if you've never studied ancient myths, chances are you've heard of Helen. According to legend, her beauty was so astonishing that it sparked the Trojan War. Kings and heroes from across the seas clamored for her attention. The famous story goes that she was either abducted by or ran away with Prince Paris of Troy, which outraged her husband Menelaus, the king of Sparta. This led to an epic conflict immortalized by poets like Homer in the Iliad. But beyond the war and the drama, Helen stands as a symbol of how powerful human allure can be. Some versions of the myth suggest she was more than just a pretty face. She had a regal presence and an almost magnetic charm that enthralled everyone around her. Was she just a legendary figure, or did she represent a real person lost in history? We may never know. However, her story endures as a fascinating example of beauty's power to move nations, literally. Next on our list is Cleopatra, the last active pharaoh of Egypt. She's often portrayed in film and literature as a femme fatale, a cunning, seductive ruler who famously captivated Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, two of the most influential men of the Roman world. But Cleopatra's true strength went far beyond her looks. She was a polyglot who is believed to have spoken several languages, including Egyptian, Greek, and possibly Hebrew and Aramaic. She understood politics at the highest level and used her intellect to keep Egypt independent for as long as she could. Her story is not just about romance or the seductive power of beauty. It's about political acumen and a deep devotion to her kingdom. When Caesar arrived in Egypt, Cleopatra recognized the opportunity to form a strategic alliance. She famously smuggled herself into his quarters, wrapped in a rug, an anecdote that highlights her flair for the dramatic. Later, with Mark Antony, she created one of the most famous love stories of all time. Yet, as history would have it, their alliance ended in tragedy. What remains is a legend of a queen who merged beauty, intelligence, and courage. Cleopatra's life shows us that allure isn't just about physical appearance. It's also about intellect, confidence, and the ability to think several steps ahead. Moving into the Tudor period, we have Anne Boleyn, the second wife of King Henry VIII of England. Anne's allure was considered unconventional for her time. She had dark hair and eyes when the English court was more accustomed to fairer features. Some accounts describe her as having a keen wit and an almost flirtatious, playful charm. It wasn't simply her appearance that enthralled Henry VIII. It was her boldness, her intelligence, and the sense of mystery she evoked. She grew up in the courts of Europe, where she was exposed to Renaissance culture, art, and new ideas. Anne Boleyn's attraction lay in her willingness to engage in intellectual discussions, her sophistication in fashion, and her refusal to submit to Henry's advances until he made her queen. This ultimately led Henry to break from the Catholic Church and form the Church of England, all in pursuit of marriage to Anne. Tragically, her time as queen was cut short when she was executed on charges of treason, adultery, and incest, charges widely debated by historians. But whether she was truly guilty or simply a victim of political machinations, her legacy has endured. Anne Boleyn's story is a testament to how influential a woman's presence and intellect can be, even in a male-dominated court, and how that influence can turn dangerous when power and politics collide. Fast forward to 18th century France, and we encounter Marie Antoinette, whose name is still synonymous with opulence and style. Born an Austrian archduchess, she married into the French royal family and became Queen of France at just 19 years old. Known for her lavish fashions, towering hairstyles, and elegant demeanor, she quickly became the embodiment of French court glamour. The famous phrase, "let them eat cake," is often attributed to her, though there's no historical proof she ever actually said it. Regardless, the statement reflects how people saw her, a symbol of the monarchy's extravagance, increasingly out of touch with the struggles of everyday French citizens. While opinions on her vary, some view her as a naive queen who was simply out of her depth, while others regard her as a frivolous spender who helped bankrupt France. Her personal allure was undeniable. She was considered a trendsetter, influencing women across Europe to mimic her fashions and hairstyles. Even in modern pop culture, she remains an icon of over-the-top glamour. Sadly, her life ended in tragedy during the French Revolution when she was guillotined, marking a grim end to an era of royal extravagance. Yet the image of Marie Antoinette in elaborate gowns, adorned with jewels, still captures our collective imagination, reminding us that beauty often comes with a cost. Next, we shift to the early 20th century and meet Mata Hari. Born Margaret Hazel in the Netherlands, she reinvented herself as an exotic dancer and stage performer, quickly becoming a sensation throughout Europe. Her seductive performances and mysterious persona garnered attention from the highest circles of society. It wasn't just her stage presence that made her unforgettable. Mata Hari projected an aura of forbidden allure, telling exotic stories about her supposed life in the East. During World War I, she was accused of being a double agent, allegedly spying for Germany against France. Historians still debate the extent of her involvement in espionage. Some believe she was made into a scapegoat by authorities, while others argue there might have been genuine cause for suspicion. Regardless, her trial was sensationalized, and she was executed by firing squad in 1917. Over time, Mata Hari has become a symbol of the enigmatic woman, someone whose beauty and mystique were both her greatest asset and her ultimate downfall. She stands as a reminder that being cloaked in mystery can be thrilling, but it can also be perilous, especially during turbulent times. No list of history's most iconic beauties would be complete without Marilyn Monroe. Born Norma Jean Mortensen, she overcame a difficult childhood to become the quintessential blonde bombshell of the 1950s. With films like Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and Some Like It Hot, she won over audiences worldwide. It wasn't just her looks, it was also the vulnerability and charm she projected. Marilyn had a gift for making people feel as though they knew her personally, as though she was both the glamorous star and the approachable girl next door. Despite her success and fame, Marilyn struggled with personal demons, battles with mental health issues, and a yearning to be taken seriously as an actress. She studied at the Actors Studio in New York to refine her craft and sought roles that challenged her, rather than simply playing the ditzy blonde. Her untimely death at age 36 turned her into a legend. Decades later, she remains a cultural icon, representing not just Hollywood glamour but also the fragility and complexity that can lie behind a famous face. Marilyn Monroe showed us that true allure often includes an undercurrent of tenderness that resonates with audiences long after the spotlight has dimmed. Graceful, kind, and impossibly stylish, Audrey Hepburn is another Hollywood legend who captured hearts around the world. Her slender figure, doe-like eyes, and serene demeanor were a stark contrast to the more voluptuous bombshells of her era. Movies like Roman Holiday, Sabrina, and especially Breakfast at Tiffany's showcased her elegance and understated acting style. Off-screen, she was just as impressive, devoting much of her later life to humanitarian work with UNICEF. What made Audrey truly extraordinary was her ability to blend outer grace with inner compassion. She experienced hardships during World War II in Europe, which gave her a deep empathy for children in conflict zones. Her philanthropic efforts earned her admiration from millions, proving that her beauty was more than skin deep. To this day, she remains a fashion icon. Her classic outfits, such as the little black dress and oversized sunglasses in Breakfast at Tiffany's, still inspire countless imitations. Audrey Hepburn's story shows how a combination of kindness, humility, and style can create a timeless beauty that resonates across generations. Finally, we come to Princess Diana, known worldwide as the People's Princess. She joined the British royal family at 20 years old when she married Prince Charles, and quickly became one of the most photographed women in the world. Her beauty was undeniable, characterized by a warm smile, sparkling eyes, and an approachable elegance that set her apart from more reserved royals. Yet it was her compassion and humanitarian work that truly cemented her status as an icon. Whether she was shaking hands with AIDS patients at a time when people feared the disease or walking through minefields to raise awareness, Diana showed a remarkable willingness to engage with the most marginalized communities. Her personal life was marked by struggle, a tumultuous marriage, relentless media scrutiny, and intense pressure to maintain a flawless public image. Even so, she used her platform to bring attention to causes like landmine removal, HIV/AIDS education, and homelessness, helping reduce stigma and inspiring countless others to get involved. When she tragically died in a car crash in 1997, the outpouring of grief was global, reflecting how deeply her life and example resonated with people. Today, her memory lives on as a beacon of empathy, showing us that true beauty comes from an open heart and a desire to make the world a better place.